Hi everyone, and welcome to this video. Now, this video is a little different from the other videos on my YouTube channel. They tend to deal with a review of a computer that I've got in my collection, whereas this particular video is largely concerned with a piece of software, a demo piece of software I wrote for this computer. This is the Ohio Scientific Challenger 4P. Now, the video is actually part of an entry for a competition called Retro Challenge. Now, for those of you that haven't heard of this competition, it's a competition that's held twice a year, and it involves retro geeks picking up a project and running with it for a month. So not only do they need to run with it, but they need to document what they're doing as well. So it's a chance for people to really focus on a project in a slightly competitive way. It's quite a light-hearted competition, but it does give that sort of impetus to actually get something done. And I had a project sitting in the Round to It box, and I probably wouldn't have got around to it if it wasn't for Retro Challenge. So this project involved the Ohio Scientific Challenger 4P. The machine came with a RAM board that was faulty. So I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to check that board out and see if I could get it going. It also wasn't wired up for cassette saving and loading. It used to be a disk machine, and somebody had taken the disk board out and put a cassette board in there, but actually hadn't wired it up to any of the ports at the back. So I thought that would be a good thing to do as well. So they were the two main objectives for this Retro Challenge. So I managed to accomplish both those objectives relatively early, and in playing with the machine I discovered that it was actually a colour machine, and it could also do sound. So having about a week left, I thought it might be fun to write a little program to show off the colour and sound and some of the graphics of this Challenger 4P model. I hadn't seen any software on the internet that did this to any great extent, and I thought it would be quite a fun project for me, having last programmed way back in the 1980s, so it was a good chance to dabble in BASIC again. It was quite a challenge because the Challenger 4P, a bit like the Commodore 64, there were no basic commands to handle graphics or colours or sound, so you had to do it all by picks and pokes. The BASIC was quite primitive, so it was quite a challenging exercise. So this video, as I said, is a part of the Retro Challenge entry where I show off this little demo. It's don't expect too much. It was only put together in a few days. It's something that you'd probably think is quite lame, but it did take a little bit of coding, and it does demonstrate some of the things that the Challenger can do. Now, if you want to have a look at my full Retro Challenge entry, I do have a blog page for it, and that's in the notes associated with the title of this video. So if you have a look at the description of the video, the URL is in there, and that talks about what I did with the RAM board and wiring up the cassette and a few other things, as well as some of the logic for this particular program. So let's have a look at it. I do have a video devoted to the two Challenger machines I've got, but in case you haven't seen that, here's some information on the 4P. Essentially, it's 1978 technology, although this unit was probably one that appeared towards the end of the run, and I would say somewhere around 1980 or 1981. As you can see, it has a real retro appearance with its metal case and wood grain sides. It looks like it's been put together in someone's garage. They were great machines for hobbyists, as they tended to be cheaper than comparative machines and also very easy to work on. Looking around the back, you can see that it's simply bristling with ports and interfaces. The demo software tells you a little bit about these. Looking at the case, it's easy to imagine there might be a single board inside, like the Apple II. Actually though, this 4P has 3 boards. You can see them here with the computer opened up and on its back. These boards lie horizontally and are plugged into a short vertical backplane. At minimum, the 4P needs 2 of these, one for the CPU, 8K of RAM and ROM, and the other for the video and keyboard. The third board in here is my non-working, or was my non-working, 24K RAM board. These boards draw a lot of power, and in fact, when you have 3 or 4 boards, you need 2 power supplies, one for each pair of boards. You can see both of these internal PSUs here. As you can imagine, this makes the machine get quite hot. And despite it having a fan, when it's been on a while, the spot on the case over these power units can easily warm your coffee. Okay, well I better move on to the demo, so if you want to know more about the hardware and the history, check out my other video on the Ohio Scientific Challenger computers. Okay, so we'll switch the machine on. You can hear the fan going there. The manual recommends that you switch the machine on first and then the screen, so we'll do that. And this is what you get, which makes it look like it's hung, but you simply need to push the brake key and a reset button that's been fitted to this one, and this is what you get. So this is the boot up screen, and you can see it tells me I've got just under 32 KB free there, which means now that the RAM board's working well. So we'll load our demo in. So it's a matter of typing load, and there it is coming in to the computer. So you can see it actually comes in quite slowly. I think 300 baud is the speed, so it's certainly not quick. One of the good things about software loading this way is that you can see if there's any corruption. Because it displays the lines on the screen, you can soon see if anything's screwed up. So this demo program's around about 10K. You couldn't fit it into a standard 8K Challenger as it is, but if you removed all the REM lines and some of the spaces, you probably could. This shot just shows where it's coming from. Of course, the computer thinks it's coming from a cassette tape. That's the conventional way to load it, but instead it's really coming from my computer sound card via Audacity. So what it's doing is simply playing a WAV file, and it's going to the computer that way. Now you might want to enlarge the screen to full size here. This is the first part of the demo. I'll shut up now and let the Challenger 4P tell you about itself. So, I imagine you're quite underwhelmed by that. You can see that I had the text scrolling across the screen with a kind of typing sound. I really wanted to give a sense that the computer was indeed addressing the viewer. Well, as you can see, the colour and graphics are not impressive, but just bear in mind that the hardware is vintage 1978, and there are no sprites, and there's no proper graphics as such, just characters which can be assembled to make up pictures. The sound is just a simple tone generator. All of the sound and anything visual that's not just text scrolling from the bottom of the screen upwards needs to be managed by pokes. There's not even a clear screen command or a character which does that. The Wumpus Hunt was fun to program, and although it doesn't look like much, the Wumpus does hide in a different place each time that routine is run, and the Wumpus Hunter always sniffs it out. Anyway, so that's it. For better or worse, my little Challenger 4P demo program. If you want to see the full Retro Challenge project with the repair details for the RAM board, how I wired up the cassette ports, why you should regard program listings and Challenger manuals with suspicion, and other things, go to the blog page which I've got listed in the video description. Some of you might even be watching this video from that blog page. On that page I've got details on how I did some of the coding, and the source code is also available. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll catch the next video on my channel. Cheers.